Hello everyone. So most people who play Minecraft have already heard of the Dream SMP. If you didn't, it's basically just this big gang of Minecraft YouTubers slash Twitch streamers that have a Minecraft server where they talk to and or possibly kill each other's Minecraft characters. The whole place is a petri dish of wars and little quarrels and traumatized ghosts and, well, whatever that is. One would think that it would be impossible to take over such a vast landscape. So many people like Dream and TommyInnit and WilburSoot. However, if planned correctly, there's a glimmer of hope to whoever wants to dominate this land. After doing some detailed research, I found a path that could lead to total domination of the Dream SMP. Also, I put a ton of effort into this video, so if you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. It'll really help out the channel and you'll get to see more Minecraft videos, as well as other cool things. You might also catch one of my streams, if you're into that sort of thing. Enjoy the video! Now the main rule is, don't make enemies with anyone, at least for now. You have to stay seemingly neutral and even friendly. Try to get on everyone's good side. Become very good friends with the people you think are stubborn so you could convince them easier. There are most likely, no, definitely, already existing rivalries between individuals on the server. So do what you can to get on both sides without revealing that you're friends with the other. Mine, and I mean mine, for resources and get as many tradables as possible. So then in a dilemma, you could use those items as an emergency resource. Get as much as possible, I mean this. Also, since auto farming was unbanned, create a gold farm. Also, gather an inventory full of apples. I'll explain this part later. Now that you've gotten that, it's time to get to the psychological manipulation. Make some contracts beforehand so the characters could sign them, which proves the property is yours. Those things will be very important. Don't lose them or you're screwed. Even though there is always room for error during this takeover process, don't make big and obvious mistakes or you're never going back. So let's start off with the main man, Dream. He doesn't give a crap. Through all of these events that happened, the only person to have really made Dream do something is TommyInnit, which resulted in the whole Lemanberg scenario. How is that place doing right now anyways? Oh. Well then, I guess don't annoy Dream. That's pretty much the only rule. And since Dream isn't really the most active right now, I don't think he'll care whether someone tries to take over the world or not. First off, the Dream SMP. Oh, I guess that might be something that Dream cares about. Though, after doing more research, it seems Eret, the king, likes to be on the winning side of things. And since right now we don't seem to have any big properties, we'll have to leave the Dream SMP faction until the end. However, when you do make Dream sign the contract, make sure that you add a little statement that says something like this. Upon request, Dream will have to revive the creator of this contract. That's you. This request can be done only once. I'll explain later. Next up, let's do it in alphabetical order. Let's see. Oh, Aimsey. Alright, so since Aimsey and CPK are the newest additions to the SMP, take advantage of the freshmen and simply give them 70% of the items you need to give them as a welcoming gift. And give a crap ton of stuff, like house materials and starter gear, under one condition, that you own the houses. Now, mention that this doesn't mean anything. They don't have to pay, they don't have to do anything. They can do whatever with the house, and they have complete control over what they built. But there will also have to be some benefits. They will be safe in this property. Convince them that the Dream SMP is a dire place, and this is a special chance only for newbies. Now, to prevent suspicion, give them the remaining 30% of your welcome gift to convince them that you gave them more than you wanted. This is to get on their good side and prevent any potential rivalries in the future. If they refuse because it's a little sus, then just reassure them they'll be safe. Do everything in your power to convince them to accept this deal, since these territories will create an easy start to your—
Insert name here.
Oh right, create a name for your nation. That doesn't sound suspicious. Once the deal is sealed, get them to sign the contract that the property is yours by name. Now with your first easier territories claimed, it's time to get serious. Since most of the other people have locations, we're gonna go by areas now to make things simpler. Moving on, we have Lemanhole and whatever is left of Lemanberg. After gathering the remaining places available to take over, we can go talking to the big guys. And no, I don't mean Schlatt. I'm talking about the founders of the country, with Tubbo being the latest president of Lemanberg. And the last. It would make sense to talk to him first. Though I'm sure WilburSoot and TommyInnit might intervene if things go wrong. We have to play it out smoothly. After asking Tubbo to make the ruins of Lemanberg, I'll just call the whole thing Lemanhole. After asking Tubbo to make Lemanhole part of your nation, you'll have to convince him. Make sure he trusts you so you'll be able to manipulate him. Look responsible and make yourself seem like a good person. Tell him Michael, his pig son thing, will stay alive and safe under your nation's territory. Keep him alive. We're not done with Tubbo yet. Also mention some basic things like how Lemanhole will get extra protection and be archive from harm, while at the same time, current and future projects will be able to be done as well. And if you keep convincing him with facts and figures and benefits, and in emergency cases, your tradables, he could very much turn over to your side and accept this deal. Once this is done, finalize the deal by making him sign the contract. Now, TommyInnit doesn't seem to be the most negotiable type, so make sure that he considers you one of his friends. Once that is done, tell him that a manhole will be safe from all harm and war. Similarly, like what you told Tubbo, scare him about all the wars that could still happen over the remains, then telling him that your goal is to unify everyone's places into one big land. If he is still hesitant, tell him that this unification will make sure that his discs are safe when he carries them around, since those are his prized possession. If Tubbo already accepted the deal and signed the contract, and TommyInnit still refuses completely, move Tubbo somewhere where he can see you and TommyInnit, because we have to focus on keeping Tubbo's trust the most. Then if things get dire, threaten TommyInnit that he will blow up his house, the embassy, if he doesn't accept. Since Tubbo has already accepted the deal by paper, then technically it wouldn't already be grieving since the property is already yours. However, if you don't get TommyInnit on your side, he will definitely go against you, sooner or later. Use threats and very manipulative sentence structures to convince him by any means possible. He doesn't have to sign the contract, but if you can, then make him do so for extra protection of the deal. WilburSoot is a very tricky fella, especially right now. He's just built different. Everything he does is just kind of unpredictable. Ever since he was revived, he is also completely different. However, as I read through his info, I noticed one thing in peculiar. He has a fear of being left alone. This can be used to convince him if he intervenes with the taking over of the manhole. Though, as I did more research, WilburSoot has become more sorry and apologetic towards everything he did. So instead of having his own opinion, he would just respect Tubbo's decision and move along. So as long as we convince Tubbo and TommyInnit to sign the contracts, he will sign it too. If you convince all of the main founders that have stuck through till the end, you'll be able to get a grand chance of claiming one of the most historical lands in the Dream SMP server, also one of the most empty. But now, you have something to discuss in your later conversations with the other owners of other factions. Next up is 1.18 world? Huh, there's only Ohio here. What the hell's Ohio? Manifold land, created by the one and only Jeff Bezos. It's empty. New Manifold land, it's empty. Poor guy, he really just wanted to get away from the Dream SMP. From the 2 sentences that I read in the wiki, New Manifold land just seems sad and desolate, but on purpose. Jack Manifold, the creator and only member of the place, seems to have just wanted to stay away from the slimy, skin-tingling pit that is the Dream SMP faction. He also tends to trust the people that show respect to him, so do that and also tell him that his base will be untouched by the Dream SMP. Don't mention that you plan to join every faction in your nation, since he will be more reluctant because of his place and the Dream SMP being under the same name. Once you shower him with respect and convince him enough that his place will be untouched, get him to sign the contract. Boomerville, it's empty. The elders have disappeared. Quickly, yoink their retirement home before it's too late. The Canon Live Graveyard, built by CaptainPuffy. It contains the dead. She seems to have been upset by Tommy's death, as she couldn't protect him, showing how she cares for Tommy and Tubbo. Knowing this, you can tell her that the graveyard will be respected and protected from any harm, and that Lemberg's ruins have already been joined with your nation. After all, since TommyInnit and Tubbo have already joined, then she will have to join too. With these statements and a little more manipulation and contract signing, you have claimed the graveyard. The subs are next. That's right, we're getting religious. The Holy Land, or the subs, is a peace area, no fighting, where they worship the Twitch Primes. Honestly, this place isn't required for the complete takeover of the Dream SMP because it's just completely neutral and a little freaky place with no power. If you really want to take it over though, you will have to talk to DreamXD since he's the god, and you will have to possibly convert to some freaky religion. But as long as you don't piss him off and respect the primes, then you might acquire this Lordy land as well. Also, you will have a contract signed by a god, so that's a weird flex. You also have to skip a few places until the end because we need to get to other places first. Logstedshire. It's abandoned, serving absolutely no purpose, with no one taking care of it. Logstedshire was created when TommyInnit was exiled away from the rest of the Dream SMP. I mean, if nobody's there to care for it, you can just yoink it real quick. Nobody will notice. Now, after we claim all these territories, let's finally acquire the Dream SMP. So one thing that could work when you're dealing with powerful people that are better with PvP in every way is to make them curious. That's right, when it's not brawn, it's brains. Try to make some sort of deal, or if they're the manipulative type like Dream, say it's a social experiment. Knowing what Dream does to his victims, I think he would love to see the different ways that people will react to this change and how chaotic it will get. Tell him that all that needs to be done is to make the Dream SMP territory part of the property of your country, or whatever you want to call it. Nothing will be changed and everyone can continue living, but you will be the owner in the background. No rules will be made and everything will be exactly the same with the same system of anarchy. I'll also mention that if you take over everything, and you can create chaos whenever you please. If he still doesn't fully answer, just say you have a god complex or something. I'm sure he'll relate to that. Now, alright, no more convincing. If he still doesn't agree, even after that last flawless statement, try to bribe him with all sorts of things like a full set of netherite armor and other tradables that you have hopefully acquired. Now, since Dream recently escaped out of prison, he doesn't seem to have many things except some hand-me-downs. So what you can do is, you can use that gold farm and that inventory full of apples that I mentioned earlier and create just a practically infinite amount of gapples, or golden apples. Those are a really useful item, and Dream doesn't seem to have a lot of them right now, so what you can tell him is that he will have a constant supply of gapples, for free. If he denies the gapples, I don't think I want to know what happened to him in that prison. However, Dream isn't the only character we need to discuss. Punz is apparently the leader of the whole place, and according to the wiki, he likes money and chaos. Talking to him would require a similar approach as when talking to Dream, for they both are average anarchy enjoyers. Definitely mention how if you take over the Dream SMP, you could cause chaos whenever you please. If it comes down to money, use those tradables that you acquired earlier to your advantage. Eret is next and the last of the group that we need to deal with. According to the wiki, he likes to be on the winning side of things, as well as on the side of justice. You can tell him two things. One, you have already claimed many other territories in this harmless project. Two, nobody died in the process, so claiming the Dream SMP would only help in protecting everyone from war, as we will be one unified land. Having this sort of peer pressure from the winning side onto Eret, he will only have one choice, and that is to join your nation. The Badlands, the leader being BadBoyHalo, what a surprise. This faction is not really the most active right now. The Badlands contains that huge ugly prison in the middle of a beach, so also say that the prison systems wouldn't change. However, that's not the important part. Since BadBoyHalo is the leader of the whole egg cult thing, this could be a great opportunity to claim all the territory with the egg as well. First, negotiate with him and say all the same stuff about how his faction will be safe from war and that nothing big will change except who owns it in name. If he accepts it and signs the contract, easy win. If not, then it's time to go into more detail. BadBoyHalo wants this fleshy egg to grow its Eldritch abomination blood vines across the land. If that is the case, then let it grow. Well, the other characters aren't gonna like that, so let it grow in a pattern that is bigger across the Dream SMP faction. Since we have already claimed it, we can let it grow across the main place, since the Dream SMP was never really owned by anyone. It had a sort of anarchical system, so the people who've built there would accept anything crazy that happens in the faction, since it's an anarchy. The Los Nevadas. Crap. Quackity, the leader, isn't the type to trust people. Since Quackity wants to build a casino, one can assume he's the gambling type. That might be the only way to get at least a tidbit of trust from him. Gambling might be the path to his heart. So let's gamble. When you ask to claim Los Nevadas, obviously he will refuse at first, since he wants to achieve his goal, a kind world, by himself. However, after you tell him that what you're doing is one step closer to that goal, since it will unify all lands, and get him more visits to Los Nevadas due to this unification, he will most likely still refuse. This is where the gambling begins. Tell him that you will gamble 2 of your lives away if you will not achieve his goal of a kinder world by unifying all these lands into your nation, with the stakes being high and him clearly seeing your ambition being very similar to that of his. He might just accept the deal and sign the contract. He might even ask for 3 lives at stake, but if it gets to that, you will have to accept 2. No, there's nothing to fear. 1 life, 2 lives, 3 lives. It doesn't matter. You wanna know why? You got Dream to sign the contract. And remember, in the beginning of the video I said, you do make Dream sign the contract, make sure that you add a little statement that says something like this. Upon request, Dream will have to revive the creator of this contract. That's you. This request can be done only once. That's right. No matter how many lives you lose, you will be able to be revived with your lives back. I mean, he can do that, right? He has the revive book after all. And with that, you have claimed Los Nevadas with no stakes at all. Your lives are safe no matter what you do. Kinoko Kingdom is next in our list of victims. This will be pretty tough because Karl doesn't have much for his personality burden, as well as no weaknesses are mentioned. What he does have is friends. As I went through the list, I noticed that he's good friends with Punz. And if you don't remember, Punz was the leader of the Dream SMP faction, which we already acquired. With this in mind, we can take Punz and make him convince Karl so he will let your nation claim Kinoko Kingdom. You will most likely have to pay Punz in advance though, since you have to make sure that he puts the effort into convincing Karl. No worries, as long as you got enough resources in the beginning, you're chill. Since Karl trusts Punz probably more than he trusts you, your manipulation of Punz as he manipulates Karl into giving up Kinoko Kingdom to your nation could just work out. If Karl Karl is convinced, get him to sign the contract. Also, since you already took over the Dream SMP faction, you could get Dream to talk to GeorgeNotFound, who is the other owner of Kinoko Kingdom. Dream and GeorgeNotFound were good friends, but currently they're separated. All you have to do to bring back union and create a big happy family is to get GeorgeNotFound and Karl to let Kinoko Kingdom join your project of uniting all factions. Since Karl and Sapnap are closely related, Sapnap might interfere and possibly even tell Karl to not sign the deal. What you can tell Sapnap is that everything will remain exactly the same. The one thing that will change is the kingdom's chances of surviving. Mention that you plan to annex a bunch more factions so they don't go to war. Since Sapnap protects things he cares about, like Kinoko Kingdom, this deal could go in his favor, since then he will have a chance for the place he cares about to be safe and sound from war. If you can, get Sapnap to sign the contract too. After that, let's go after Snowchester. Owned by Tubbo again, we can use our earlier interaction with him to our benefit. Talk to him and ask if Snowchester can be claimed too. Hopefully, you kept Michael safe. So with that, Tubbo definitely has more trust in you now. Definitely mention that nothing will change in what Tubbo can or can't do with the place. Again, only by name of who owns it. Tubbo might not agree and refuse the deal. If this happens, tell him how many more land you got, but make sure not to mention any that Tubbo is enemies with, or that might screw your chances. Also say that you know that Tubbo's country is weakened right now due to him being focused on other projects, so you can help with assisting the country's goal and preventing Dream from taking over this place, since the Dream SMP is already claimed as well. Some more manipulation and convincing statements and consider that contract signed. And finally, the Syndicate. Well, it's associated territory. Man, we really left the hard ones for last. So you see, the whole point of the Syndicate is to prevent governments. They love their anarchy as much as I hate how much my fingers are going to hurt after making this video. So the first thing you can do when talking to the leader, Technoblade, and the other members is say straight up that what you're doing is not a government and it has no rules. This will keep them from instantly refusing your offer and even waging war against your almost complete nation. Once that is said and known, begin the discussion by slowly easing into the fact that you want their land to be yours. Don't start off right away, as that will be too suspicious. Keep saying that what you're doing isn't a government, but a project. A social experiment of sorts. Make them curious into what you're doing. The more curious they are, the more chances of them joining in on this project and possibly joining your nation. So after describing these intentions, say that it will be interesting to see what kind of anarchy will be brought with just the removal of every single law in every land. After all, what you are doing is not really creating a government, but it's more like getting rid of the existing ones. Pick your words carefully, and you have the Syndicate interested even more. They might want you to leave your position as the owner of your nation, but if that is the case, mention that many more claims will happen since the nation will disband with no owner and the land will be free to take for the people. Since the members of this group want anarchy instead of clashes of clans, they could consider allying with you instead of putting their territory under your nation. What we want though is for them to submit to the nation, not be an ally. The final thing to tell them is that you have already claimed every single faction in the world. The final step is to bring some anarchy by letting the Syndicate join the nation. After some thinking, the members might agree to join due to this new world that your nation has created. Get at least Technoblade to sign the contract saying that the Syndicate will merge with your nation. Just as a confirmation, let him read the contract through and through to prevent suspicion, and if everything goes right, you got yourself the final piece to the Dream SMP server. There might be a few places that aren't countries or factions, but now you have everyone under control. Sure, you said things could get chaotic to some people, and to others you said the complete opposite. But either way, you have control over everyone's territory that nobody could have. And if you want, you can blow it all up at will without grieving, since the Dream SMP is yours. Thank you so much for watching this video. Of course, some things here are exaggerated. I mean, you're not actually gonna blow up everyone's hard work and builds once you take over, right? This is mainly just to make for some interesting lore to the server. Special thanks to my sister for being an average Dream SMP fan and watching so many of their streams that I could just ask any annoying question I want from my research. Big thanks to the Dream SMP wiki. I mean, it just has all the info there. And of course, thank you for watching.